Hi everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about one of my most favorite cards in the Grand Lenormand, and that is the Three of Hearts. So we have on this card a strange looking creature holding a scroll and a stick and a word that he presumably drew in the ground. And then we have, of course, the small left and the small right subject, and we have the flowers. So this card is very interesting, and I was down the rabbit hole this morning. I still am probably in the rabbit hole regarding this. So this creature is called a Cynocephalus. It sounds kind of like Snuffleupagus, or however you say that, from Sesame Street, right? But yes, Cynocephalus, which according to Merriam-Webster is either baboon or dog-headed being of a fabled race of dog-headed men. And I always assumed it meant baboon, just a very intelligent baboon, right? And that's simply because this was from my first Grand Lenormand deck that I got last year. And it's in English, of course. It's from 1969. You know, it talks about this creature being a baboon, and I'll show you what I mean. So it means man of genius, but dog-headed baboon in a forest. I won't go over the rest. But so I always just assumed it was a baboon. However, in reading the other literature I have on the Grand Lenormand, all French, but I've translated it, it's talking about a dog-headed man. So however you want to see this card, it's up to you. But it's very, very interesting because there are, historical accounts. Like, they say it's a myth. And I don't mean to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist, like Sasquatch believer. But it's possible that these creatures might have existed. I don't know. I don't want to say one way or another, but there are historical accounts by famous people, and there's even a saint, a Catholic saint, that was a dog-headed person that converted to Christianity. Yeah, so these creatures were supposedly really tall, like over 7 feet tall. They communicated via barking. They had large teeth. They also communicated with hand signals. They were found in India and in Africa and in other obscure places. Yeah, I don't know, but it's really interesting. And I'll show you what this book, this is from the 1845, or it's a reprint of the 1845 instructions. So we'll go to this. So oops, I lost my page. I'll find it. All right, so Three of Hearts, man of genius. Keep in mind, it could also mean woman of genius. And it doesn't say that it's a baboon. Now, I assumed that this book was just an English translation of chapter 1, like in regards to the card definitions, of chapter 1 of this book, this is from 1988, but it's a reprint of the 1845 instructions. But it doesn't say baboon. It just says Cynocephaly in a forest. It's talking about what it's holding. Like, it's holding a roll of paper and a baton in the right hand. And it means invention and work of the head, or intellectual, right? So, it never said anywhere baboon. Okay, and the translator who translated, I'm assuming, that copy into this copy, took liberties by calling it a baboon, by assuming it meant baboon. But in Corinne Morel's book, okay, and it talks about the Cynocephaly, and then it says to understand the symbolism of the main subject. It's, I'll translate for you. A mythical being with the head of a dog is found in many traditions, especially among the Egyptians and the Indians. He is the symbol of the sage. the holder of secrets. So it's a symbol of wisdom, in other words. And just to show you, we have one more card in the Grand Jeu with a dog-headed creature. This is Anubis, so this is more of an Egyptian thing. But yeah, he would also be called a Cynocephalus. So it's kind of interesting. Now, this card is very, very positive. It augments other cards that are negative in the spread. And it stands for, of course, like I mentioned, man of genius or woman of genius, academic writer, professor, scientist, just anyone academic inclined or academically inclined, sorry. Positive card indicating success of projects, literary works, etc. It increases personal development and it alleviates problems encountered. So yeah, it's very positive. Now, we have these small left and right images, of course, and they are sort of opposite of each other. So this guy, he has the laurel on, there's a little flame on the laurel leaf there, and he stands for man of genius who dominates everybody in his field, sort of thing. And this one is, he's still a man of genius, but he's beside a sundial here, and he is not being recognized for it. So it's kind of unfortunate for him. But that's temporary, okay? It's not necessarily a permanent thing. And if you want to know the constellation, I have that information here in my Carol Sedelot and Chantal Frilot book. And we have, for the constellation, creative journey bringing fame. The geomantic symbol, we should beware of all proposals. And the bouquet, now, I'm not 100% positive about this interpretation because in my other books, it's talking about something completely different. So the bouquet, the floral meaning, there's just, it's a gray area for me. Triumph of feelings. It doesn't really fit in with the theme of the whole card, so I question this. But anyways, I'll just read quickly the synthesis according to these authors here. So this card announces to the person whose merit is unrecognized that a near opportunity to succeed brilliantly, or that there is a near opportunity to succeed brilliantly, and competition will soon no longer be feared. Inventive spirit, creativity, power of intellect, wisdom, and great protection. Success and fame. So yeah, it's a really good card. And I will just show you one more, because I know I'm not boring you guys. But no, I think it's good to get a varied overview of this card, and you will see that pretty much everything matches up perfectly. Now I just have to find it. There we go. Okay. So the synthesis of this card, you will have intellectual power and important possibilities that will allow you to progress and develop your creative ideas. This card is important for all those who are attracted to the creation of literary, musical, etc. works. Here, the floral emblem is talking about distance from adversaries. So I would tend to sway towards this meaning as opposed to the Sedelot Frilot book meaning, although the rest of the interpretation is spot on, I'd say. Let's see what else. This one I don't think goes over the constellation. No, it doesn't. But I'll go over the left and right subject. So the left subject is little known talents, obstacles in intellectual achievement. And the right subject is intellectual power, intelligence, inventive spirit, and creation. Okay. Okay, now real quick, I'll go back to my 1845 book. And we're going to this time we're going to the right and left subject where it goes into more detail. Okay, so the Three of Hearts, the right subject, announces a man of genius before whom everyone bows, whom we advocate and admire. So in other words, a famous person who is recognized for his talents and genius. And the left image is a man of genius will be ignored for a long time and he will suffer the injustice of his rivals. Oh boy, that's no fun. So I think I've given a pretty good overview of that card. I just want to show you the, now this is my homemade copy of the I believe it's the 1845 deck. It's from the Gallica BNF website that I printed this off and made my own, you know, vintage deck. And so you can see quite a difference in the colors and, you know, it's a little bit more rudimentary here. You can compare the face. So here it looks more baboon-like, right? But overall, it's an identical card. Sorry. We're missing, I noticed here, we're missing the flame for the man of genius. And this guy, the not so recognized guy, it's like he's at a podium as opposed to a sundial there. So that's interesting. But, and you know, there's a little bit of difference in the vegetation. And the word, I have no idea what that word is supposed to say in either of those cards. But it's something. Something genius, I'm sure. But the geomantic symbol is the same. I think that's Fortuna Major, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah. So if you're interested in learning more about the Cynocephalus, there's tons of information out there in the rabbit hole land of YouTube and Google, so I highly suggest looking that up. Like, in the end, you might actually believe that these creatures existed. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.